Indicated in our release, we're excited and really looking forward to going to the Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, and we're sure that it'll be a great experience for our players, our coaches, and their families, and certainly the fans that end up going down there. It's, I believe, the second year in existence for the Bowl, and we did visit with Bowling Green, who went to the Bowl last year, and it was nothing but great reports back. And so we really look forward to this opportunity to be part of the Bowl. And then, obviously, to play an Appy State team that continues to bring their program to an extremely high level, 10-2. And obviously, it's no fluke that they are 10-2. They've played great football not only this year, but they have a history now of playing great football since prior to moving up into Division I, certainly, with back-to-back championships in their division, and then moving up and having great success in Division I. So it'll be a challenge that'll certainly be accepted by our players. They're looking forward to that challenge, and they're looking forward to playing the game.
We talked about this a little last night from an experience standpoint. You're the veteran this year, seventh trip for you. This is just the first, obviously, for Appalachian State. They've been in the postseason many times before, but different animal for them. And then it's the second bowl, so you guys are the vets in this situation here. Does that help you?
Well, we've been through it a number of times, and obviously most of the players on our team have been to a few bowls while they've been here. So I think that's always it's never a negative, it's and it can be a plus. I don't think that having this be their first bowl trip is necessarily a negative for them. They're an excellent group of coaches running their program. They'll make good decisions, and that's really all it takes when you go to a bowl game, is to make good decisions as a coaching staff and make good decisions as players. You get through it usually very well if you do that, and then just make sure you're in great position to play your best football. And I think our experience at that is it should help us in terms of we should be healthier than we've been for some time going into to this game. Obviously, if you practice too much, you practice too hard, your players get beat down, they don't have a chance to recover, then you've got some problems when it comes time to snap the ball and make it all work. So we know what we're doing. Hopefully, we'll get them prepared at a level that's going to allow them to play their best football. And if we do that, it should be a great game.
Does App State remind you of your own club in terms of offense? One back set, three wideouts, kind of the base personnel, low tempo, some option elements baked into it. So for what you guys do, run first, kind of
Yeah.
first kind of spread.
Yeah, to some degree. They're more in tune in their option game to be running triple option, obviously with a back in the backfield, a tight end there, and then bringing a wide out in motion, and he can come across behind the quarterback and become an option back in the direction he's going, or he can stop and come back the other way and be the option back, and so you're talking about triple option football that is not something you see all the time, and so it's the extra days to prepare is probably good for us. But they execute it very, very well, and so it's that part of it's going to be a challenge, and they'll come off of it with really good play action passes. They do have an outside, they run outside stretch a lot. They're really very good at it. They got athletic offensive linemen, and if you look at the teams that run their style of offense to some degree, the academies, that's the type of offensive lineman they've got. They're not overly big. You know, I think they've got one player over 300 up front there that's starting for them, but they're all athletic, and that's what it takes to run that style of offense. And they do a great job of it.
For the second time, you have a win going into the bowl. 2013 beat UMass. But there was that losing streak at the end of the year there.
Mhm.
It was a good win to go down
Mhm.
to the bowl after that, but this is really the first time that you have that win to build off of and a whole lot of momentum going into the bowl. What does that do for you guys, and can you sense that as well, that this is a bit of momentum that you've had going into bowl season that maybe you haven't had previously?
Yeah, the way we finished the year, I think, is encouraging for all of us. You know, that momentum is there, which is always huge at the end of the season when you are prepared for a bowl game. You know, I look at our team. You know, we're filled with leaders. They've done a great job of making sure that this season ended up being pretty much the kind of season that they envisioned, and did not let some things along the way take them out of having the kind of year that they had hoped to have had in terms of getting wins and getting to a bowl game. Obviously, we'd like to have won more. We were in position a couple times to maybe win a couple more, but you know, that's the nature of the game. I like our players and their attitude. They'll go down. They'll be all business, and we'll give it our best shot.
Rich and health, now that you have it, would you say this is the best your team's played now, with as opposed to maybe the start of the season?
I thought we played very well at the start of the season too. Probably comparable to what we were playing at the end of the season. You know, it's the middle stretch that was the problem for us, and we've talked about that numerous times. Many things caused that, but they came out of a great start into that middle part of the season where things were tough on them, but they didn't stay down. They bounced right back. You know, they're on a roll right now, and they want to keep that roll going.
With the break from the end of the regular season to the bowl game, are there any guys that you think will get back that have been injured for quite a while, or some guys that have some nagging injuries to be ready?
Yeah, you know, there's a list of those. You know, obviously there's a group of guys that were playing hurt at the end of the year. They'll be better. You know, now they may not be 100%, but most of those guys will be much better. You know, Poppy White will be ready to go, which is you know, obviously huge for us from the offensive standpoint. You know, Daz Patterson will be ready to go. You look at you know, our quarterback situation. All three quarterbacks will be healthy, ready to go. You know, Purdom, Watson, all those guys will be you know, a little more healthy than what they were playing with at the end of the year, and so I think that's great news for us. But I think that's probably true of most bowl teams. That will happen. You know, our bowl game is the first bowl to be played, I guess, or on the first day of the bowl to be played, and you know, some of those teams that have much more time obviously will have the ability to even get more healed up. But I feel very good about where we should be health-wise going into this.
With playing on the first day of bowl season, do you think, does that make the team feel a little rushed, or do you think you still have a good amount of time to prepare for maybe
No, you know, generally speaking, the MAC bowls are in the month of December, and so we're conditioned to that. And you know, we're on semesters, and our finals fell, I think, pretty good for us. You know, they're this week. Players will have a chance to recover mentally as well as physically. You know, a lot of preparation goes into getting all your assignments in at the end that need to be turned in, doing all the studying you need to do for your finals, and that can be an exhausting thing. And so that will happen this week. We've got 3 practices mixed in, or we'll have, I think, most of our team won't have a conflict with a final, be out there, so that part of it probably works good. And then we'll have the next week, although, we head to the bowl site, and there's a lot of activity around bowls, and so that can have a wear-down effect too. So you've got to be careful on how you handle that.
What can you tell us about the App State defense? Kind of an odd man front, 3-5 look, blitz, pressure heavy?
Not as probably as much blitzing as what you might think. And they are 3-man front, but they do switch to a 4-man front at times also. So they'll do both. Not a lot of man-to-man coverage, zone, and they are really good at their zone drops. I think they're as good as anybody we've played in terms of zone defense and their drops. And so that obviously presents a little bit of a challenge for your quarterbacks and your throwing game. They have, just like on the offensive side of it, the defense has 9 starters returning. So they're a team that's filled with experienced players on really both sides of the ball. You look at their defensive secondary. I think they do an excellent job of breaking on the ball, and when you play zone, you're more apt to see what's going on in front of you. You're not zeroed in on a man, so they can react to the run a little bit quicker. They can react to the quarterback's eyes if he's staring down a receiver and get great breaks on the ball, and they're very good at that. And they're physical and strong inside to where, if you look at their stats, people have had a difficult time running the football against them. And so, it's going to be a test for us, no question, and a big one, to manage the game in a fashion that we're able to keep the ball, put points on the board. That's going to have to be the case, and so we'll see how that all plays out. But they're an excellent defensive football team as well as an offensive football team. If you look at their stats, not only stats in the Sun Belt, they're 1 and 2 in most everything in stats in the Sun Belt, but they're very high up in the NCAA rankings. Yeah, and so that just goes to tell you that they're a very, very good football team. You're going to have to earn every yard you get.
As a coach, Bobby White coming back has been out since October. Does that, if you're on the opposing side, does that make it difficult to plan for in terms of offensive game plan where it's this guy who is coming back and might play the ultimate last couple games on the belt?
Yeah, that'll cause you to look at that player and obviously try to determine how now he's going to be fitting into what your offense has evolved to, so he's still our leading our leading player on the offensive side of it in terms of producing explosive plays, even though he's missed a good share of the season. And he's a potential threat as a punt returner. And so when a guy like that comes back, you always pay attention to, But then in paying attention to one guy, you got to make sure that, what you're doing is defensing the entire package, not just one guy, and so they've got the kind of athletes that can match up, and so that I don't think they're worried about any particular play or any particular scheme that we're doing.